Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. A while ago I made my first Paladin Theorycraft for Descent of Dragons, and it was a mid-range Dragon Paladin, based on just buffing tons of dragons with Dragon Speaker, with Glowstone Technician, with Dragon Rider Talritha, just making huge dragons. And now we have had even more dragons released since I made that one, so would it be possible to build the same idea but in a Highlander form? So then you'll be able to use Dragon Queen Alexstrasza, which is obviously a phenomenally powerful card. So this is my idea on what a Highlander Dragon Paladin could look like. So a Highlander Dragon Paladin, I believe it would still be a Dragon and Hand buff style deck, using Dragon Speaker, using Glowstone Technician, using Talritha. Talritha is just so good that you really can't ignore that. And also because Paladin has a real problem finding good 3-drops. There are not that many good 3-drops available for Paladin. So Talritha's 3 mana 3/3 that you can just play fits the bill perfectly. And because Talritha really requires you to have a bunch of dragons, this is an 11 dragon build. Maybe there would be ways to put even more dragons in this. But I was a little bit concerned that if I put in a lot more dragons, then the mana curve might not be optimal, and also it will be difficult to draw cards. Drawing cards can be a problem for Paladin. Paladin doesn't have a lot of draw tools. So even in this deck I have resorted to some trickstery in that regard, running Harrison Jones, because there's going to be lots of weapons, of course, with Galagrons around and everything. So Harrison gives this deck a little bit of card draw, and running Countess Ashmore. There are a few Rush and Death Rattle and Lifesteal minions in this deck, so Countess Ashmore can be also used to draw a little bit. Other than those, it's mostly just dragons, the dragon synergy cards, obviously the Highlander synergy cards, Dragon Queen Alexstrasza, Zephyrus the Great, and Sir Finley of the Sands. Another draw tool that's being used here is the Sandbinder. There is Siamat in the deck, and there is Zephyrus the Great in the deck, so you have 2 elementals, enough tools to make Sandbinder viable. So just make big dragons, use the Highlander synergy cards, and roll over the opponent. One dragon that I opted finally to not use in this deck is Nosdome the Timeless. I actually had this in the draft for quite some time, but after really thinking it through I decided not to use it. Battlecry set each player to 10 mana crystals. I mean, that's pretty sweet. You got an 8/8 on the board, so the opponent gets the 10 mana turn first, but you have an 8/8. But then typically you wouldn't have to be able to answer the opponent's 10 mana turn with your own 10 mana. And what kind of deck can do that? And I don't think this is the kind of deck that can do that. Maybe if you had some equality shrink ray style of tools. So if the opponent just gets a ton of stuff on the board for the 10 mana, though, that you would be able to respond. But this deck doesn't feel able to respond very effectively to that sort of turn. And even though you get that 8/8 as head start, I just didn't have enough faith in it. That's definitely a card that requires testing, and we'll see how it all works out, but I didn't believe in it enough to put it in this one. Obviously the deck also lacks tech at the moment. I mean, there is Harrison Jones, but given that Galagron is going to give people a lot of weapons, then Harrison Jones is kind of a no-brainer that you can use, or some weapon removal tool. In this case Harrison, because I want to be able to draw with this deck. But other than that, there's like no mind control text, there's no silence. All that sort of stuff could be added to the deck. There's like Henchkel and Hogsteed at the moment, some early removal. There's Volpra Scoundrel, a little bit of discovery, and an unconditional 3-drop. For example, those card slots might be slots that you might want to use in order to add some deck cards to the list. Will be interesting to see which one is also better, this one or the pure mid-range dragon build. Because the pure mid-range dragon build of course has 2 copies of Dragon Speak, 2 copies of Glowstone Technician. It's able to buff up the dragons a lot more easily and more consistently. Whereas this sort of Highlander decks have a little more tricks up their sleeve thanks to cards like Zephyrus. But yeah, there will be lots of Dragon Highlander decks around for many classes. I've already theory-crafted multiple of these, and here's what I think Paladin version is going to look like. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the show, please click the like button and subscribe to my channel for more.